Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. You live inside a battlefield where the enemy is not visible, yet it strikes first. Every ad that flashes across your screen, every polished phrase from a politician, every promise whispered in romance, these are not accidents. They are weapons drawn with precision, daggers cloaked in silk, crafted to pierce your judgment before you realize a duel has begun. Hidden intent is the silent general directing the war you do not know you are fighting. When you accept words at face value, you become the soldier who marches without seeing the map. The ordinary trap is not grand tyranny. It is the everyday nudge that steers you away from your own sovereignty. You buy what you never needed. You agree to what you never wanted. You concede ground before drawing your sword. This is not a weakness of intelligence. It is the blindness of failing to question the hand that moves the pieces. Guard yourself by naming the enemy early. When you hear a promise, ask what stands behind it. When you sense persuasion, examine whose interest it serves. History proves the rulers who endured were not the loudest or strongest, but those who mastered intent. Rome's emperors, monarchs of Europe, and cunning statesmen often relied less on force than on perception, alliances and staged appearances. The masses followed not because of chains, but because of carefully crafted signals that disguised ambition as necessity. Intent hidden is power multiplied. The tyrant does not need to swing the sword if the people beg for its swing. The general does not need to shout orders if the battlefield has already been prepared. Imagine stepping onto a chessboard blindfolded. Every move you make is guessed, every square uncertain. Your opponent sees fully, but you stumble into traps you cannot detect. That is what life becomes when you fail to read intent. You may feel free, yet every choice is anticipated and exploited. To live blind in this way is to surrender your crown before even claiming it. To break free, you must strip away illusions. Train yourself to hear not just words, but motives. Watch body language, examine timing. Do not react to surface moves, uncover the strategy beneath. The cost of blindness is slavery to forces you never agreed to serve. The reward of vigilance is a throne no deception can touch. Remember, you cannot escape the war, but you can choose not to be the pawn. Stand as your own commander. Detect the hidden hand. Refuse to be ruled by what is unseen. Rule yourself with eyes open, and no silent general can bend your will. Carry this mantra. See intent before it sees you. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. The mind is your throne, and if you fail to rule it, another power will. Every empire that ever collapsed began with weakness inside its walls. Your thoughts are not neutral. They are courted, invaded, and besieged. When you leave them unguarded, propaganda, distraction, and self-deception storm the gates and seize control of your kingdom before you even realize the crown is gone. To reign in the world, you must first reign in yourself. Mental usurpation is the oldest form of conquest. History shows rulers did not always rely on swords, but on narratives, myths, and repeated persuasion. Empires spread not only through armies, but also through stories that made submission seem natural. When people surrendered their thoughts, they surrendered their future. The same principle operates today in quieter form. Words, images, and carefully chosen signals slip past your awareness and plant themselves like banners on your inner ground. If you do not question them, they multiply until they speak louder than your own will. Guarding against this requires vigilance. Do not assume that because you are intelligent, you are immune. Intelligence without awareness is a fortified city with open gates. Guarding the throne demands daily practice. Modern life bombards you with more messages in a day than past rulers faced in years. The screen in your pocket is a Trojan horse that delivers enemy troops disguised as entertainment, news, or social approval. If you open it without discipline, you allow foreign armies to march freely across your mental landscape. Guarding does not mean isolation. It means control. Begin mornings with intention before exposure. Pause before every strong emotional reaction and ask, who benefits if I think this way? Refuse to let your focus be drafted into a battle you did not choose. The shield is not silence. The shield is awareness. Every time you step back, you reclaim ground from invaders who never declared war but acted as if they already won. The pretender within is the most cunning rival. You can defend against external invaders and still be betrayed by your own illusions. Self-deception wears the crown in your absence. It convinces you that distraction is rest, that indulgence is freedom, that delay is strategy. In truth, these are disguises for surrender. You may tell yourself that scrolling for an hour is harmless, yet the cost is sovereignty over your time. You may tell yourself that anger justifies reckless words, yet the damage to your authority lingers long after. To unmask the pretender, you must be ruthless with clarity. Do not excuse weakness under the name of kindness to yourself. True kindness is discipline, because discipline preserves the throne. Even in conflict with another person, the lesson holds. When someone challenges your decision, the throne is not defended by shouting louder. It is secured by calm certainty. You listen, weigh their words, and then declare your stance without trembling. The other may resist, but authority comes from mastery of your own ground, not from domination of theirs. This composure demonstrates rule over yourself, and that rule commands respect more than force ever can. Every battle for external power begins with this one truth: the throne of your mind must not be left vacant. Propaganda seeks to usurp it. Distraction seeks to erode it. Self-deception seeks to sit upon it in your name. The command is simple, but absolute. Rule your thoughts with vigilance, or be ruled by others without knowing it. Carry this mantra as your seal of power. Rule the mind or lose the throne. It is better to be impetuous than cautious, because fortune is a woman, and it is necessary, if you wish to master her, to conquer her by force. The morning is your battlefield. The first hour decides whether you march as commander or stumble as prisoner. Before your sword leaves its sheath, distraction strikes. The phone glows, messages pour in, headlines scream. Each one is an ambush meant to drag you into fights you did not choose. If you answer them first, you are already bleeding before the war begins. The ambush of distraction is the most common defeat of modern life. What feels harmless, a quick check, a casual glance, becomes a siege that consumes the throne of your focus. Command yourself by refusing to yield your first hour. Delay the invasion. Do not let their noise plant banners in your kingdom before you rise. History shows that first blood determines war. Entire empires were lost because leaders faltered at the dawn of battle. At Cannae, Rome's legions underestimated Hannibal's strategy and walked into a trap before noon. At Hastings, hesitation allowed William's forces to press their advantage and reshape England. The early misstep is not small. It sets the rhythm of the entire campaign. In your own life, the weakness of the morning multiplies throughout the day. Begin scattered, and you will end conquered. Begin precisely, and the day bends to your will. The lesson is simple. The empire of time is won or lost in the opening clash. Treat your morning as sacred ground. Protect it with the same severity a general protects the supply lines. To choose passivity is to kneel before the enemy. Imagine two armies at dawn. One stands ready, armor polished, weapons drawn. The other still sleeps, its gates unguarded. The outcome is decided before steel meets steel. This is the condition of your morning when you rise slowly, scrolling in bed, waiting for motivation to appear. You seed the campaign without marching a step. Hidden intent thrives in this passivity, for when you do not set your direction, others set it for you. The battlefield does not remain empty. It is seized by whoever moves first. Choose to march, define the field, seize initiative before distraction claims it. In practice, this means one command: act before you consume. Move your body before you open screens, write before you read. Declare your intent before the world declares its will over you. If someone challenges this discipline, it's just a message. It takes seconds. You respond with calm certainty. Seconds at dawn decide hours at dusk. You do not argue further. Authority is established not by quarrel but by clarity. The morning will always test you. Ambush, hesitation, and weakness await like enemy scouts. but the one who rules the dawn rules the day. Guard the gates, strike first and claim sovereignty before another hand claims it for you. Carry this mantra into every sunrise. Win the morning and you win the war. The calm predator always wins. Stillness is not retreat. It is sharpened steel held steady before the strike. Lions do not roar when they stalk. They wait, silent, patient, and absolute. Their stillness is not passivity, but the preparation of precision. In the natural world, those who lunge without calculation often starve, while those who master the art of waiting dominate the hunt. The same principle governs power in human affairs. Rash leaders burn out. Impulsive voices expose weakness. Those who master silence, who sharpen their will in stillness, claim victory long before they move. Modern life trains you in a frenzy. Notifications hammer your focus. Opinions demand instant response. The culture celebrates constant reaction as if speed equals strength. But this is a trap. Frenzy is not power, it is scattering. When you answer every ping, when you allow every external urgency to dictate your rhythm, you are no longer a ruler but a servant. The ancients understood this in ways we ignore. Philosophers sat in silence to govern their thoughts. Commanders surveyed the field before committing troops. Stillness is rebellion against the chaos that seeks to invade your throne. In the modern storm, the one who pauses, breathes, and chooses deliberately is already ahead of those who exhaust themselves in noise. Impulse is the blade that turns against its wielder. Act without control, and you are slain by your own hand. Imagine a warrior charging without a shield, convinced that motion alone guarantees triumph. The enemy does not need to strike him. He has already destroyed himself by rushing blindly. In life, the same error appears in rash words, careless commitments, or anger allowed to speak faster than judgment. You may win a momentary skirmish, but you lose the campaign. The trap of impulse is seductive because it feels like action. In truth, it is surrender disguised as strength. Mastery requires the discipline to wait, to read the field, to strike when the moment delivers certainty. You must learn to hold silence like a weapon. In conflict, when someone pressures you to react, do not hand them the victory by rushing. A colleague may demand an immediate answer, but you respond with calm certainty. I will decide when the timing serves the outcome. No raised voice, no apology, just clarity. This posture transforms the battlefield. They expect frenzy. You offer command. Their push becomes their weakness. Stillness makes them reveal their intent while you guard yours. The command is clear. Refuse the frenzy that scatters your power. Reject the trap of impulse that slays the unprepared. Stand as the predator, still, patient, unreadable, until the moment is yours to seize. Power does not belong to those who rush. Power belongs to those who wait, watch, and strike only once with precision. Remember this mantra. In stillness, I sharpen the blade. What you tolerate multiplies. Every weak tie you allow, every mediocre influence you let remain, becomes an infection inside your sovereignty. Power does not collapse in a single strike, it erodes slowly, like rust-eating steel. The people you permit to waste your time, the habits you excuse as harmless, the compromises you call small, all of them pile together until they bury your command. Cutting weak ties is not cruelty, it is survival. If someone drains your energy, without return you sever that bond. If an environment feeds distraction more than focus, you leave it behind. You do not apologize for this. Weak, I just don't have time for this. Strong, this does not serve my purpose, so it ends here. The difference is sovereignty. The throne is defended by boundaries, and boundaries require elimination. History proves that leaders who endured did not allow rot to fester. They understood that small threats multiply into uprisings. Roman generals purged traitors before campaigns. Monarchs secured rule by removing rivals who could fracture their command. Machiavelli observed that fortune favors the decisive, not the hesitant. The lesson is not to imitate cruelty, but to see the principle beneath it. Hesitation in the face of infection destroys the body of power. Leaders who avoided hard cuts often fell by daggers they chose not to remove. Ruthlessness, in this sense, is clarity, choosing the kingdom over sentiment, survival over indulgence. The history of collapse is written in rulers who delayed the necessary act until it was too late. Now imagine your own empire. You sense decay inside but choose to ignore it. A friendship that belittles your ambition. A habit that robs hours every night. A task you know is poison, yet you tolerate it. Slowly your fortress weakens. The walls seem strong, but termites hollow the beams. When the storm comes, you collapse from within. The cost of refusing ruthless elimination is not immediate. It is gradual, subtle, but inescapable. The throne you thought secure falls not from outside attack, but from your own refusal to act. This is the hypothetical decay that awaits those who confuse kindness with indulgence, who call surrender patience and weakness forgiveness. The act of elimination is never pleasant, but it is necessary. When someone challenges you, accusing you of being harsh, respond with calm authority. I choose to protect what I am building. No anger, no defense, only command. You do not explain further. The throne does not beg for permission, it declares. Ruthlessness is not cruelty. It is the shield that keeps your empire from being eaten alive by neglect. Your command is clear. Cut what weakens you. Remove what infects you. Purge hesitation before it becomes your executioner. The throne cannot be shared with decay. Protect it by eliminating it without apology. Hold this mantra as law. What weakens me must fall. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. The mask of command is the armor that shields authority. Power is not sustained by raw emotion, but by the image of control. Leaders throughout history knew that perception creates reality. A king who appears unshaken commands loyalty even when storms rage. A general who keeps composure steadies his troops even in defeat. The theater of power is not deception for amusement. It is survival. To rule, you must master the stage, because audiences obey not the man, but the image of the man. Politics has always been a performance. Rulers staged rituals, ceremonies, and appearances to reinforce strength. Roman emperors paraded triumphs to project invincibility, even when resources were strained. Monarchs sat upon thrones with crowns not simply to decorate, but to embody sovereignty. People rarely followed the private person. They followed the mask that represented stability and control. This is the essence of the mask of command. Crafting. An exterior that sustains order even when the interior wrestles with doubt. Remove the mask in moments of crisis and rebellion. Keep it steady, and the illusion itself becomes truth. Modern life demands its own masks. Social media profiles, professional personas, and public appearances are not trivial acts but forms of armor. What you present shapes how others engage with you. If you reveal every frustration, you bleed authority. If you expose every weakness, you invite predators to circle. This does not mean faking identity. It means choosing what serves your sovereignty. Weak, I'm just being real, take it or leave it. Strong, I choose what to reveal and I command how I am seen. The difference is not dishonesty, but discipline. You are not obligated to hand the battlefield to those who will use your openness as weapons. Guard yourself with strategic presentation. Imagine the naked king who casts aside his mask too soon. He believes honesty will win loyalty, but his people see only fragility. Whispers turn into doubts, doubts into defiance. His intentions may be pure, but the outcome is ruin. In your own world, the same principle applies. If you collapse emotionally before those you lead, they will no longer look to you for direction. If you remove the mask before trust is secured, you invite challenge before stability. Command requires timing. Reveal selectively when strength is already proven, not before. If someone accuses you of hiding behind a mask, respond with calm clarity. I protect what matters by choosing what to show. This is not a defense, but a declaration. You do not owe the world your unguarded self. You owe yourself the preservation of your throne. The mask is not a lie, it is the uniform of command. Your command is clear. Wear the mask that sustains order. Choose what strengthens your authority. Never confuse raw exposure with strength. The throne belongs to those who hold their image as tightly as their power. Remember this mantra. Control the mask, and you control the throne. It is better to be impetuous than cautious, because fortune is a woman and it is necessary, if you wish to master her, to conquer her by force. The throne of self-mastery requires an inner assassin, a figure within you whose task is execution. This assassin does not slay men. It slays weakness, hesitation, and fear. Without it, you remain a ruler who hesitates before command, and hesitation is the most fatal of all errors. Great commanders in history struck without tremor. Alexander crossed rivers and mountains without pausing for perfect conditions. Caesar marched into Rome because delay meant death. Those who waited for certainty often found only defeat. The assassin within demands that you strike when the moment demands action, not when comfort approves it. Modern life disguises hesitation as harmless procrastination, yet every delay is a dagger turned inward. You think you are resting, but you are bleeding out the currency of time. The throne you seek cannot be won by endless preparation or waiting for the perfect mood. Each postponed decision allows others to advance their campaigns, while yours remains stalled. Every unfinished task is an enemy camp growing stronger. You must see procrastination not as laziness but as betrayal. Weak, I'll get to it later. Strong, it is executed now. The difference is survival. Execution builds momentum, and momentum builds power. When you allow delay, you surrender ground before the battle begins. The assassin's choice is unavoidable. Either you execute weakness or it executes you. Picture an empire where the ruler spares traitors because punishment feels harsh. Soon the throne is poisoned and rebellion erupts from within. In your life, the traitors are your doubts, fears, and excuses. Left alive, they gather strength until they overthrow your resolve. To rule yourself is to act as judge and executioner. You must cut down indecision when it appears. You must eliminate the fear that whispers caution when boldness is required. Ruthlessness toward your own weakness is not cruelty. It is loyalty to the empire you are building. When challenged by someone who calls this approach harsh, you respond with calm clarity. I choose to eliminate what weakens me, so that what is strong can survive. You do not explain further. Authority does not justify itself to those who misunderstand discipline. The assassin within is not a figure of rage, it is a figure of precision. It does not act from emotion, but from necessity. The strike is clean, deliberate, and final. Your command is clear. Do not hesitate. Do not delay. Do not spare what erodes you. Call forth the assassin within and let it cut decisively. Self-mastery is not gentle. It is surgical. You are both ruler and executioner of your own empire. Remember this mantra. Hesitation dies by my hand. Within you live two wolves. One is hunger, drive, and ambition, sharpening its claws against the stone of discipline. The other is weakness, comfort, and surrender, growing fat while it dulls its teeth. The one you feed will rule your throne. History has shown that the wolf of hunger builds empires. Leaders who endured did so not because they were gifted, but because their appetite for power, knowledge, or achievement outpaced their rivals. Alexander marched beyond the known world because his hunger was unquenched. Caesar risked everything crossing the Rubicon because hesitation could not silence his drive. The wolf of hunger thrives on risk, discipline, and forward motion. If you starve it, your throne is abandoned to mediocrity. Modern life, however, rewards the comfort trap. You are surrounded by ease, food delivered instantly, entertainment on demand, distraction at every turn. The wolf of hunger grows thin while the wolf of weakness feasts. Comfort feels harmless, even deserved, but every indulgence without purpose chips away at your sovereignty. The throne cannot be defended by one who seeks only softness. Weak, I deserve to relax first. Strong, I act first, then I rest. By choice, the framing matters because your words feed the wolf you intend to crown. Overfed ease starves ambition until you no longer fight battles worth winning. You may still breathe, still walk, but you no longer rule. Imagine a king who forgets to feed his warriors while he feasts in his hall. The people grow restless, the army withers, the gates weaken. When the enemy arrives, there is no strength left to defend the realm. This is the starving king, the ruler who feeds weakness and neglects strength. In your life, the same principle applies. Every time you give in to distraction, every time you avoid discipline, you feed the wrong wolf. Slowly, your empire decays. From the inside out. By the time you notice, it is too late. Power does not vanish in one stroke. It erodes by 1,000 small indulgences. Your command is clear. Feed the wolf of hunger daily. Sharpen it with action, discipline, and ambition. Starve the wolf of weakness by denying it excuses, indulgences, and cowardice. If someone calls this harsh, you respond calmly. I choose to feed what strengthens me. No argument, no defense, just clarity. Your throne does not survive by kindness to weakness. It survives by loyalty to strength. The empire of your life will be ruled by one beast or the other. You cannot avoid the choice. Starve the wolf of strength and you kneel to weakness. Feed it and you rise sovereign. Remember this mantra. The wolf I feed is the king I become. Life is a chessboard, and every move is a declaration of war. Chance plays its part, but strategy decides survival. Machiavellian rulers throughout history treated politics as a game of position, calculation, and sacrifice. Kings and generals knew that power was not maintained by reacting, but by anticipating. Each move was chosen not only for the present, but for the ripple it created across the board. To rule without strategy is to play without sight, and blindness on the chessboard ends in checkmate. The historic games of power reveal this truth. Monarchs used marriage alliances as moves on the board, not romantic gestures. Statesmen made treaties not for peace, but to reposition armies. Even Machiavelli wrote of rulers who mastered fortune through bold, calculated strikes. The game was never about a single battle, but about the chain of moves that created inevitability. The pawn moved to open the board for the queen. The sacrifice of one piece secured dominance in another corner. Those who failed to see strategy in life became pawns in someone else's design. The lesson is clear. Every decision is a move, and every move either strengthens your position or exposes your king. Modern failures are born from people who wing it. They enter jobs, relationships, or debates without a plan, reacting to whatever arises. This is the posture of pawns moving without vision, waiting for others to dictate the game. Weak. I'll figure it out as I go. Strong. I calculate before I move, and I know my aim. In a world of constant distraction, strategy is the weapon that separates rulers from the ruled. If you approach life without anticipation, you are maneuvered by those who plan 3 steps ahead. Many collapse not because they were weak, but because they assumed the game was casual when it was war. Now imagine the final stage of a match. One side sees 3 moves ahead, the other plays for the moment. The outcome is inevitable. Checkmate arrives not in a single strike, but in the slow tightening of a net that was cast long before. In your life, the same law applies. Fail to think ahead, and you will wake to find your throne already cornered. Choose mastery and you become the one who dictates the pace, who corners opponents into choices that all serve your reign. The board does not lie. Either you command it, or you are commanded by it. If someone accuses you of being too calculating, respond with calm authority. I would rather be accused of calculation than be ruled by accident. This is not arrogance, it is sovereignty. The chessboard of life demands foresight, sacrifice, and discipline. There is no neutral ground. You are either building toward checkmate or being prepared for it by others. Your command is clear. Think before you move. Plan beyond the moment. Accept sacrifice where it strengthens your throne. Strategy is not optional. It is survival. Remember, this mantra, I move as ruler, never as pawn. Rituals forge iron will. Without them, willpower rusts and the throne collapses from neglect. Discipline is not built in moments of passion, but in the repeated strikes of ritual. The hammer blows that shapes steel. Warriors throughout history understood this truth. Samurai sharpened their spirit through daily forms. not only their blades. Roman legions drilled endlessly, so that in battle, instinct carried them when fear tried to rule. Monks rose before dawn, not to chase comfort, but to align body and mind under a single command. These practices were not decoration, they were weapons. Rituals kept their will sharp, their resolve untouchable. Without them, even the strongest warrior decayed into softness. Modern life has replaced rituals of steel with rituals of sand. The hand that once reached for a sword or scripture now reaches for a glowing screen. The ritual of discipline has been exchanged for the ritual of scrolling. You may believe you are resting, yet every minute spent drowning in digital distraction is corrosion on the blade of your will. Weak. I'll just check quickly. Strong. I begin with intention. The difference is the foundation of sovereignty. Your throne does not rust because of one distraction, but because repeated habits. Bend your spine until you kneel willingly. The enemy does not need to invade if you destroy yourself with weak rituals. Imagine a king who never inspects his armor, never trains his guard, never tends the fires of the fortress. At first, nothing seems broken. The gates still stand, the banners still fly. But over time, the hinges weaken, the soldiers grow careless, and the walls crack unnoticed. When the storm comes, the throne crumbles not because of overwhelming force, but because it was left to rust. This is your life without ritual. You may believe you are safe, but the decay is already working. The cost is revealed only when a challenge arrives, and by then, it is too late. The correction is simple but severe. Forge rituals that strengthen your will. Rise at the same time to declare mastery over your day. Move your body as if preparing for battle. Guard the first moments of the morning as sacred ground. If someone questions your strictness, respond with a calm command. My rituals protect my throne. You owe no further defense. Ritual is not performance for others. It is the structure that keeps you sovereign when the world tests your resolve. Every empire of self-mastery rests on ritual. Every collapse begins when ritual is abandoned. Your command is clear. Build practices that sharpen your will and refuse those that corrode it. The throne rusts without care, but with ritual it shines with unbreakable steel. Remember this mantra: ritual is the armor of my reign. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. To become untouchable is to reach sovereignty so absolute that no blade, social, emotional, or political, can pierce you. History shows that the figures who endured storms were not always the strongest, but the most impenetrable. Marcus Aurelius ruled while surrounded by wars, plague, and betrayal, yet his composure made him unassailable. Elizabeth stood against plots, rivals, and foreign powers, but her image of control protected her throne. Their enemies struck, yet their reigns held. Untouchable does not mean free of enemies. It means no enemy could land a decisive blow. Modern life wages its own assaults. Online mobs swarm at a moment's notice. Critics attack reputations without restraint. Manipulators twist words to provoke reaction. Yet the sovereign does not crumble under these strikes. You remain untouchable when you refuse to hand away control of your state. Weak. They made me angry. Strong. I chose my response. The difference is the line between being ruled and ruling yourself. Your throne is secured not by silence alone, but by the discipline to respond with precision instead of impulse. The mob thrives on weakness, but it starves when you do not yield. Every reaction you control becomes armor. Picture the invulnerable throne. A sovereign sits while storms lash outside the walls. Enemies rage, conspiracies whisper, daggers gleam in shadows. Yet the throne stands firm because its foundation was built not on approval but on mastery. To be untouchable is not to avoid attack, but to render attacks meaningless. Imagine in your own life when criticism, rejection, or betrayal comes. If you have forged yourself, these blows cannot dethrone you. They strike, but they do not cut. They press, but they do not bend your crown. You reign because your strength does not depend on their permission. If someone challenges your composure, insisting you should defend yourself more loudly, respond with calm authority. My strength is not measured by noise, but by what cannot be shaken. This is not avoidance, it is command. You are not obligated to fight every battle when the throne itself is secure. The predator does not chase every prey, it chooses the strike that matters. The general does not waste soldiers. He preserves them for decisive victory. To be untouchable is to conserve strength until it becomes indestructible. Your command is clear. Build walls of discipline, shields of composure, and foundations of mastery. Do not seek to silence every critic. Seek to render them powerless. Do not aim to avoid storms. Aim to reign through them. Sovereignty belongs to those who cannot be pierced. Remember this mantra. No blade can touch my throne. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. This is the law of power. But the true emperor knows fear and love are only surface moves on the board. The real weapon is hidden intent, unseen but always at play. You began as a pawn surrounded by invisible hands shaping your choices. Every ad, every promise, every whisper carried a strategy designed to rule you. But through discipline you have taken back the throne of your mind, seized the mornings, forged stillness, eliminated weakness, masked command, unleashed the inner assassin, fed the wolf of strength, mastered the chessboard, and built rituals of steel. Now all parts converge into one transformation. You become the hidden emperor. You are no longer manipulated by unseen forces, you wield them. The web of power is everywhere. Hidden intent governs politics, markets, and relationships. States have always used it as their first weapon. Roman rulers staged triumphs not only to celebrate victories, but to guide public loyalty. Renaissance courts layered symbolism into clothing, ceremony, and speech, so every gesture concealed a message. Leaders survived storms not only with armies, but with strategies invisible to common eyes. This is not deception for its own sake. It is understanding that power moves beneath the surface long before it erupts in action. By mastering yourself, you now see what others miss. When someone seeks to distract you, you ask whose gain it serves. When persuasion surrounds you, you examine what remains unsaid. Intent no longer blinds you. It bends to you. Modern sovereignty means you walk among chaos untouched. The world screams for constant reaction, but you choose deliberate command. Online mobs lash out, critics provoke, manipulators bait your emotion. If you yield, you kneel. But if you govern your response, you turn their storm into your silence. Weak. I have to respond now. Strong. I answer only on my terms. This difference shields you from being ruled. In the workplace, when others scatter in panic, you remain composed and authority gravitates to you. In private life, when provoked, you refuse to hand your power away. You do not hide from chaos, you stand sovereign within it. The modern battlefield rewards not the loudest, but the most unshaken. Now imagine the empire within you, ruled with such precision that no tyrant outside can touch it. Every weakness has been executed. Every distraction is cut down. Every ritual is forged into armor. The wolf of hunger is fed. The throne of the mind fortified. The assassin ready at command. You become invulnerable because sovereignty flows from the inside out. Attacks may come, but they do not pierce. Loss may strike, but it does not dethrone. Critics may shout, but their voices cannot enter your court. You are the hidden emperor, unseen yet undeniable, shaping outcomes by mastering what others ignore. If someone questions why you are so guarded, why you do not reveal every emotion or react to every strike, you respond with calm certainty. I rule what is mine, and I refuse to be ruled by what is not. This is not coldness, it is clarity. You owe no one access to the throne you protect. Authority does not beg for understanding. It stands unshaken until others accept its reality. The convergence of all lessons leads here. You have learned that intent rules the world, and now you wield intent as your weapon. You command perception through the mask. You decide the field through ritual. You dictate momentum through decisive execution. You no longer play as a pawn, or even as a king bound to defense. You become emperor, shaping the very board others believe they are playing. Your command is absolute. Rule yourself so fully that no hidden hand can move you. Wield intent as your sword, stillness as your shield, and sovereignty as your throne. This is the final transformation, the hidden emperor within you rising to reign. Carry this mantra as your seal. I am unseen, yet I rule all. Hidden intent decides whether you reign or kneel. The battlefield is not distant. It is inside every thought, every choice, every reaction. Fail to master yourself, and you will be ruled forever by forces you cannot see. Modern life makes this trap even sharper. Every notification, every manipulated headline, every promise of ease is designed to move you like a pawn. If you rise without command, you surrender the day before it begins. Weak, I'll see where things go. Strong, I set my direction before the world tries to set it for me. The final warning is clear. Ignore hidden intent, and you will live enslaved by it. The final reward belongs to those who seize sovereignty. History honors rulers who mastered themselves first. Marcus Aurelius endured plague and betrayal because his reign began in the fortress of his own mind. Elizabeth I withstood conspiracies and foreign threats because she understood that appearance and discipline carried greater weight than panic or impulse. Those who govern themselves rise above storms that crush ordinary men. Mastery of hidden intent transforms you from target into strategist. You no longer stumble into traps, you design the field. You reign over both mind and world because you are not distracted by the noise of others' agendas. Now imagine the hypothetical empire of your life. You sit upon a throne forged by discipline, guarded by stillness, sharpened by the assassin, within and fed by the hunger of the wolf. Distraction arrives but cannot pierce your walls. Manipulation comes but finds no entry point. You watch calmly as others scatter in chaos, while your empire grows stronger with every strike you refuse to take blindly. Without mastery, you are a pawn to forces you do not name. With mastery, even hidden intent bows before your sovereignty. Your marching orders are simple but absolute. Rule yourself, guard your mind, eliminate weakness, feed strength. Do not ask for control, seize it. When someone questions your discipline, answer with calm clarity, I choose my throne, not theirs. There is no need for argument. Authority does not explain itself, it demonstrates. The throne awaits the one who claims it without hesitation, who chooses command over surrender. The warning has been delivered, the reward made visible, and the choice placed before you. Sit upon your throne, or kneel to another's hidden design. Remember this mantra. Rule yourself so fiercely even hidden intent bows to you.